And here we are, live. Fix that up a little bit there. Probably. Maybe we can go higher. That works better. We got none on just yet, but hopefully we'll get some people on soon. And I guess I'll keep going with my job. Oh, here we go. There's a couple of people on. Hello, hello. Welcome to the three of you. Tim Bright, hey, how you doing? RC Bench, wow, here we go. They're logging in now. Hello from England. What's up? RC Prominent. Morning from the UK. Proponent. What's everybody been up to? It's been a while since I've done a live video, so I'm probably a little rusty. Good morning from the US. Hey, from Latvia. Well, hello. It's a long way. Hey, Vas from Slovakia. Glad to see you. Nice, man. Nice to see so many people from all over the place. Just getting some shrink tubing ready. Good morning, good morning. Everyone say good morning, but it's like 9:30 here or something. 2:23 a.m. Somebody's up late or early. Hello from Israel. My goodness. People from all over the place. It always amazes me from where you guys are watching. It's, you know, you tend to forget how big the world is sometimes. 10:24 a.m. Solder away. Yeah. Well, you know, look, feel free to ask me some questions and, you know, get the ball rolling a little bit. So don't mind me if I g'day from Mudgee, New South Wales. Okay. Well, there you go. Someone local. John Davies. Hey, from Sydney. Nice. Wow, we got 30 people on. That's all. What are those cars in the back? The cars in the back? Which ones? These two big guys? These two guys? They're the Sen Reapers, those ones. And then I have over here, that's my Mojave. That's my Outcast Limited Edition. Actually, I just realized I got that light on back there. I don't really need that light on. There we go. That's probably a bit better. It's not so glary. So, hey, hey Vash, you good? Yes, RC Car Club, I am good. Hang on, a lot of comments going very fast here, sorry. It's 4:30 a.m. here, laying in bed after a long night of drinking. Nice. Hello from Portugal. No, my home country, nice. Are you sure you want to do this? Most RC guys get shaky hands and skip soldering. No, I'm good with my solder. Nice to see you. Thank you. Show me watching the Carnage races. Yeah. All right. Well, vast friends are back in stock. What's the meaning of life? Yeah. Look, I don't know when Arma's getting back in stock. I think we were expecting a shipment just before Christmas. So they might make it just in time for Santa to do some deliveries, but don't expect too much. It's all going to be very limited numbers. Carnage races at the moment are on hold for I don't know how long. The thing is, where we were doing the races, kind of like outside that track, what was it, last year I think, they've now made like even more jumps there. So, and it's really like, they're very close. You can't really do anything there now. And the fence of the actual BMX track has been moved to pretty much where we used to stand. So we can't hold it there anymore. They've pretty much made it impossible for RC people to have fun in that area, which really sucks. So I don't know what's going to happen to Carnage. I haven't really heard of any of the guys, you know, if they want to get back into it or if they've still got cars that are capable of getting back into it. So I don't know Um, yeah, just I don't know what's going to happen to Carnage going forward, unfortunately, because yeah, there's just no place to really run our cars. We are looking for alternative locations, somewhere that's sort of nearby that everybody can get to. But yeah, it's kind of on hiatus at the moment, and everyone's kind of coming out of lockdown. I honestly, I don't know what's happening with Carnage at the moment. The only person that's really sort of hounding me with Carnage is a guy called Dave, who has who was part of the Carnage races. He had the other Losi, and he's really keen to get back into it. But if no one else wants to sort of like, if there's no one else around, like just seeing me and him race around, the fun of Carnage. The reason why we called it Carnage was because we had probably too many people running. I think some of the races we had 7 or 8 people running at the same time, and when you go into that first corner, it's absolute chaos and carnage. So that was the appeal. If there's only 1 or 2 guys, or not one, but if there's 2 or 3 guys, it can sort of lose its appeal a little bit, I think. So you kind of want to have more than maybe 3 or 4 people to make it interesting, and so that everybody can have a go at each other, and there's more crashes, and I don't know. That's just my theory. Let's see what else we got going on here. Do you know the shop Crazy Hobbies? Great people there. Yeah. The main thing is it was fun watching you guys talk smack to each other. Yeah, I know. I mean that was the thing. It was the banter between us all, and just just giving each other shit. Really, just trying to throw each other off, I suppose. That was part of the fun. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to Carnage at the moment. I'll give you all a little bit of an update as well. I've had to turn my solder off because I'm not really doing much soldering. The Creighton EXB, which is just where is my hand going? This one, that one there. That's the Creighton EXB. Is that it? Or is that one? No, it's that one. Yeah, that one there. You can't see it very well, but that has already been fixed. So essentially, all I broke was this part. And thankfully I actually had a spare here, so I fixed that. But it was my only spare, so I actually bought another packet. I bought another packet of these, sort of like all those links, and it's got a bumper in here and everything, because you never know when you're going to break another one. So I bought myself another pack. And then I was also running my Creighton V4, which is down there. God, it's so hard to point when you're looking. So that's my Creighton V4 down there. That guy was having some issues as well. I've got the rocket motor in that. So I've got I think it's the 1580 kV 4092 rocket motor. And I was having some problems where the car was kind of like going off and doing its own thing, and it wasn't really responding to my radio. Now, I was running a Futaba radio, but I had this receiver in it, this orange receiver from Hobby King. Now, I've got a couple of these, or a few of these, and they've always been good. But this one, I noticed, has got a breakage on the antenna. And I think that's what was causing me some issues. There's a breakage there. And yeah, at one point I took a jump, and the car just went full throttle, and then it cut halfway. And I was like, okay, I think I better stop before I actually do some damage. Yeah, bit sad that I had to get another receiver. On the plus side, though, I'll tell you this: I got myself one of these, along with about probably 20 other YouTubers out there that have got one of these. So these guys, Radio Link, kind of been chasing me for about, I'd say probably since almost the start of the year. They've been chasing me to do a review for this. And originally, I didn't want to do it because I already did one many, many years ago. I did one for this guy. Now this one I got from Asia Tees, and I got a couple of receivers for these and for this one and everything. You can see how dusty it is. That's how much. Watch this. That's how much I haven't used this radio. It's just been sitting on the shelf. Yeah, I don't really like this particular radio, and I'll explain why I don't like it in the video. But yeah, I was really hesitant in doing it. Then I saw, I think it was RC Dude 81. I saw Eric, and he had one of these, and he showed some things, and I had a bit of a chat to him about it, and I was like, maybe I should give this another go, because it looks like they've done quite a number of improvements. And they have. They've done quite a lot of improvements on this radio, and it feels a lot nicer, and it looks a lot better, and yeah, I'm actually quite happy that I got it. So I've actually installed this on my Creighton V4 now, and I'll be taking it out for another bash, because I didn't get through a full battery pack before I started having issues with that receiver. And it's got voltage telemetry, and it's got a few other things, and apparently it's got like really long range, and I've already set it all up, and you'll see some content on this radio. It'll be kind of cool. I think Radio Link's actually done a decent job on that radio, which is much better than the original one that I got. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of an update. I've got the Maverick car here as well. So that's ready to do an unboxing. I'm hoping to do an unboxing for that sometime this week. And then I've got to start doing the unboxings for the Arma Outcast 8S, and I've also got a Felony over there, 6S, that I need to unbox and have a look at, because I've got to do something with those real quick and then give them back to their owners, because those cars are not mine. But what is mine and what's coming are some nice co-rally cars. So I'm really looking forward to stepping in and I guess working with alongside co-rally going forward. It's going to be really cool. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the cars any earlier, just the way that logistics are, and you know, it sucks. I'm on the opposite side of the globe, and yeah, it's just hard to get things out here at a decent time frame, I guess, sometimes. So yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And I'm really looking forward to testing out some of these co-rally cars. I'm not entirely sure what they're sending me, to be honest. They just said, we're going to send you the first cars, you know, such and such. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really question which ones they were sending me first. So I think I'm getting a Kronos, and there may be a Radix in there or something as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know about anything else. So yeah, that's happening. What else can I tell you? I'm halfway through painting a body for my an MT4 Thunder Tiger MT4 that I got back there, and that's probably about it for now. I'm hoping that this Saturday the weather holds out well enough for me to go and do a couple of speed passes in the afternoon. But I'm going back to Altona on Friday to do some more running videos. So yeah, there's a lot of content in the works. It's just at the moment now, it's just a matter of getting the time to go out and shoot, and I'm waiting for some cars to arrive and stuff like that. And yeah. Someone said co-rally diffs come with grease. Yeah, I think the V1s did. I don't know if the V2s do. I think the V2s have been improved. They now come with oil, but I don't have one yet, so I don't want to, you know, lie about it. So it's very. Any sponsored cars are great for an RC channel. Yes, that's correct. How do the Turnigy batteries from Hobby King perform? It depends which Turnigy. They've got a variety of different ones, like these ones here, which I'm going to be changing the plugs out on these to XT60. I'm actually giving these, I've got 4 of them. I've used them, but they all balance out and they're all fine. But I'm giving these to a fellow co-worker I figured, you know what, I've had my time with these. I hardly use them these days. And I'm going to give it to him because he has the same plane that I have down there. That's the Commander. And I've convinced him to convert it to go to 4S. So he doesn't have any 4S batteries. He's only a young kid. He's not much older than my son. And I figured, you know what, I'll help him out and I'll give him some batteries to get him in the air and have some fun. He's repainting his plane, and he's got some pretty good skills. He's a pretty good hobbyist. He's a good kid, so I'm going to give him some batteries and get him going. And I'm also doing up the this is his ESC, so I'm going to be doing, that's why I'm soldering. So I got to put bullets on here, an XT60 on there, and I'm helping the guy out. Someone said, do I fly too? Yeah, well, I don't have those planes on the wall just for decoration. Yes, I do fly as well. Oh, hang on. Watch this. Let me flip this around. How do I go about flipping the camera? I always forget. Here we go. So check this out. Look at this. That is the MiG-29 from Freewing. That is a twin 80mm jet. It is an absolute monster. It runs on two 5,000 milliamp 6S batteries. And that guy, I've already flown it and had a lot of fun with it. It's a great plane. But yeah, got a bunch of planes, a bunch of cars. Give you guys a bit of a tour. X-Maxx is still up there. I got to fix, I have one of these little arms on the bumper broke, and I got one of these to fix it, and it's been sitting up here for like, I don't know, like 2 months, and I still haven't fixed it. And yeah, all my cars are here. I broke the axle on the E5HX, so I got to fix that. I got that's the EXB over there, Mojave, you guys know all of those. And then the rest of it, a lot of it's just a mess. I've got some new batteries for this guy as well, so check these out. Got some new Ovonics, 8,000 milliamp 3S, 50Cs, and then I got these bad boys as well, 5,800 milliamp 80C. These, I'm hoping to use these in that truck, which I think they're going to fit. I'm pretty sure they are. And then these guys, these are a perfect fit for if I want to run 6S in the J-Star, or you won't see it, it's all the way down the bottom there, my BES, the Team Magic bird-eating spider. So these came in the other day. I still got to change the plugs on them, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. But yeah, there you go. A little bit of a tour, a little bit of an update on all this sort of stuff. I saw a bunch of comments come through, so bear with me while I go and try to read some of this. Still no nitros in your collection? No, no nitros in my collection. However, I did see some really nice gas planes that I'm getting my eye on. I really want to try and sort of dip my toe in some gas aeroplanes. I don't know if I'm like, I need to figure it out. I don't know which way I'm going to go yet, but yeah, I'm looking at some big aeroplanes that are gas powered, not electric powered. It's just an idea at the moment. I don't know if I'm really going to do it, but it's an idea, and I really want to try that genre of the hobby, which is one thing that I haven't done. So that's my plan in the future. Maybe, you know, in 2021 you'll see some gas engines and you'll see me fly something cool like that. I have 10 electrics now, no nitros. So much simple fun on 6S. Yeah, more races, please. I enjoy them. Yeah. I know, but it's getting hard. The venues that we used to use for racing just become inaccessible or unusable, so we have to find new areas to run, and it's just a little bit tricky to do that at the moment. As I said earlier, we're just coming out of a massive lockdown. We had I think it was like 4 months of lockdown. It was 120 something days, 130 days. I don't even know. It was like some stupid amount. And now we're in a position where, you can actually have some outdoor gatherings and you can go outside and you don't have to be too scared of anything. You don't have to wear masks outside as long as you can social distance, but you still have to wear them inside. So, unfortunately, in the retail store that I work at, I still have to wear a mask throughout the entire day, which sucks, having to wear a mask all day. But as soon as you knock off, you walk out the doors now, you just rip the mask off, and you breathe easy. I want a nitro to annoy my neighbours. Yeah, most people do get nitros to annoy their neighbours. Just go to the Losi Mini B added brushless. It is a dream. Most fun road car I got. Do you have any 100+ mile an hour 8-scale cars? The only one that's done 100+ mile an hour is my Limitless. That's the only one. But my fastest RC is actually a plane, which is upstairs at the moment. What do we got? Someone said stupid Andrews. Yeah, I know. He was a bit of a hard ass through all this thing, and yeah, it's been tough. I'll withdraw my opinion of him at this stage because we want to try and keep this PG. Are you happy with the Max 6 4985 combo? Are you referring to the Max 6 in the that I put in my Creighton EXB? Am I happy with that combo? I haven't used the car long enough to really have a valid opinion of it yet. The short run that I did on Friday, where I broke the link and all that, and the pillow ball was popping out, I don't think I ran the car long enough to really have a solid opinion on that combo just yet in that car. I mean, I do like the combo. I've used the combo in other cars. I had the same combo in the Crazy Chaos Reaper, and it works beautifully there, which is why I decided to put it in the EXB, because I figured, well, if it's going to work well in that truck, given the size that it is, Creighton should be no problem. And so far, so good. I don't know if I've got the gearing 100% correct, but yeah, we'll see how that pans out in the long term. Sorry, while I scroll here. You mentioned a few Team Magic products. Most recent one is this E6 VGen. I think it would be good to revisit this platform on your channel. The E6 VGen, I think, is going to be very much identical to my J-Star as well as my BES, which is probably one of the reasons why Team Magic hasn't offered to send me one out, because they figured, well, you kind of have those two, like, this is a kind of an in-between, or it's an update of the J-Star or something. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it would be nice to do it, don't get me wrong. I'll never say no to a Team Magic car, because they do have some awesome cars, but yeah, I can understand why they didn't offer to send out that one, because it might be overlapping on the other two. But who knows? Maybe in the next update, maybe once they take another step forward with that platform, I might get a bit of a Guernsey, and they might ask me to review another one of their cars. Because the last one I had, I think, was the Seth, and I've done quite a few videos on that car, and it's done pretty well. I should probably do a final review on that. Actually, yeah, I should do a final review on that pretty soon, because I've done quite a few changes to that car. I still have my HBI Baja 5B upgraded. Love the two-stroke simplicity and sound. Two-stroke stuff's a different story to Nitro. If it wasn't for, I suppose, my limitations on where I could run a car like that, I'll definitely be striving to get, a 5T or a Baja or something like that. But at the moment, Bajas are pretty much extinct. The only chance of you getting something like that now is going to be from King Motors or Roven, because yeah, you won't get anything like that from HBI. Gas is just loud and annoying, like the neighbor's dog. Electric for the win. I mean, look, yeah, I here's where I stand with all of that, because there's always going to be a debate about nitro and gas versus electric and all that sort of thing. And I've had to stand in front of customers in the store who obviously have no understanding and no respect for anybody outside of a nitro genre, where they comments fly out, like, electric for kids, nitros for men, and stuff like that, and all that bullshit. I really don't like that sort of talk, because as much as I favor my electric, I've had experience with nitro in the past, although limited and brief. But the reason why I prefer the electric is because, yeah, it is simple, it is more powerful, at least by today's standards. Not when I played around with nitro. When I was mucking around with nitro, you only had brushed motors, which is what prompted me to try nitro. But just because I prefer electric doesn't mean that I dismiss or disrespect those that prefer the nitro and like to tinker and like to play around with that sort of stuff. And I like that attitude better than the people that are like, oh, if you don't like nitro, you're not really a hobbyist and that type of stuff. There's always this divide between the guys that prefer the nitro over the electric, and I don't know. I just don't feel that that's the right attitude to have. That's the right attitude to show, up and coming young guys and girls who want to get into the hobby, and they all of a sudden see these grown men arguing about, no, my electric is faster than your nitro, and your nitro sucks, and da 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 da. And it's like, come on, man, just grow up a little bit. Like, it's all part of the hobby. Like, when I go flying and I see their guys with nitro and stuff, they always rev up their motors on the stands before they take off to make sure everything's running right, and it stinks up the whole place. And it's like, well, I don't go up to them and go, man, switch it to electric. It's a lot quieter, it's a lot easier. But that's what they're like. That's what they're like. We all have to sort of learn to live with each other a little bit, and just respect it. And that's just my take on it. So I don't like that divide that exists between gas powered and electric cars, or planes or boats or anything of that nature. I think they all have their place, and I think it's important to appreciate both sides of it, not just the one. That's just how I see it. But yeah, I've had to deal with customers that are just tunnel vision. They're like those race horses. They have the little blinkers on the side. They don't want to know left and right. It's nitro. That's it. That's what I like. I don't care. Don't tell me about your 100 mile an hour limitless. Nitro, 2 speed, 3 speed. That's all they care about. And that's fine, but don't go disrespecting the electric. Because that's not right either. That's just how I see it. Let's see. We got some. Till they get smoked by a nitro, yeah. I'm 51 and have done it all, but to be fair, electric is the future by far. Technology of today is brilliant. Well, see, there is that argument as well, because nitro is an old technology. There hasn't been, at least to my knowledge, there hasn't been any major advancements in nitro going forward. There is also the cost involved to try and get performance. You can pretty much jump on eBay these days if you want to get some really good performance out of your car, and you can buy a 150 MPSC and a brushless motor for maybe, I don't know, less than $200. All right, and you can get some really good performance out of your 1/8 scale, or absolutely overpower your 10 scale. So, and it's pretty cheap to do. But you try to do that sort of thing with nitro, and you got to tap into the race engines. And you're looking at, at least here in Australia, you're looking at $300-400, $500 for a pipe. You're looking at engines that can cost upwards of $500. So you add all that together, and it becomes a very expensive exercise. And then you need to have the know-how to tune it and run that engine and be able to, apply that power correctly. I'm not saying that you can't get good power out of those engines. You definitely can, but you're going to be paying through the nose to get anywhere near a brushless setup, especially now when you've got, you know, TP power motors and new motors and all these other really advanced brushless systems that exist out there. And you got castle systems, you know, the ESC, the Mamba X that I've got on in my Limitless, for example, you know, is actually not that expensive for a new ESC that can put out that sort of power. So I think it's a lot cheaper. What's going to cost you is your batteries. That's where it costs you as well, I suppose. So they're both. I think they both have their place. They both have their pros and cons. Yeah, I prefer it if people would just like, you know, respect each other. Oh, you like brushless? Oh, cool, man. I like the Nitro. Oh, you like Nitro? All right, cool. Show me how it runs. Oh, cool, man. It sounds sick. You know, like that's how it should be. It shouldn't be Nitro. Get back to 1984. You know, that's yeah. Thoughts on series and parallel batteries? In what regard? What do you want me to say in regards to that, Vas? How do you usually clean your RC cars? Air compressor? Yeah, I have an air compressor. I use, here, look, I'll show you. These guys, old toothbrushes, work a treat. All right, I have something like this. I did have another brush in here, but I think I've put it upstairs. But yeah, an old toothbrush. You can use an old paintbrush. But air compressor, just to clean them out and dust them off, that works wonders. What else we got? Trying to double runtime or voltage. Hang on, what? That's okay. Yeah, wait. I have both, but I do prefer Nitro. Yeah, it's fine. Amputee RC prefers Nitro. Yeah, no problem, dude. I have a hard time at it still. I use toothbrush too. Have you tried FPV on your cars? Yes, I have tried FPV on the cars. It's very shaky. It's not really FPV on cars. They're yeah, it's hard to do. What did I just read? I don't have any teeth, but I got toothbrush. That's funny. Australia is 90% dust. Yeah, I think you find it's about 95. Series and parallel running in my DHK Maxes. What do you recommend? Series and parallel running. Well, the DHK is a 4S. The Maximus, right, is a 4S car. My brain's trying to catch up to my mouth at the moment. So, the DHK is a 4S car. So, I think it comes standard with two 2S batteries together, right? So, if you are going to run that is a series connection because you're running two 2S in series makes 4S. Now, for you to run that in parallel, you're going to have to put two 4S batteries on there and change your connections so that you've got them in parallel. The downside with that, and by running in parallel, you can increase your milliamp per hour. But the downside with that is you might find that, you know, running two 4S batteries in a truck like that is going to have some kind of impact in your handling characteristics. So it's make the car a little bit heavier. So you may end up having to, retune your suspension a little bit. I love the fact, like I'm looking at the chat, and I love the fact that some of you guys are helping each other out with the comments because I can't keep up with all the comments coming through. So good on you all for doing that. I really love seeing that sort of stuff in the chat. What is your personal favorite RC to own? Do you have any crawling? No. Okay, so I've been asked this question about my favorite RC. I probably have like 10 that I really like. And I don't really do much crawling. It's not my forte. It's not something that I gravitate towards. I have tried it. In fact, I still have one little Thunder Tiger crawler back there, the little 12 scale thing that I did maybe a couple of years ago now. But I don't do any sort of crawling. There's not a lot of areas around where I am that really promote that. So most of my parks and everything is just flat. Like you come here and it's all like manicured gardens everywhere. It's a first world problem, okay? Leave me alone. But it's just there's not a lot of places to do crawling where I am. It's suburbia. If I go out bush somewhere like towards the Dandenongs or something like that, or I head jump on the Hume Highway and go all the way towards that way, go north, then yeah, I might find some hills and stuff like that. But to do crawling, like when I did it, I had a damn it, come on, brain, catch up. I had an axial trail honcho, and I went and did this by myself. And by yourself, I think is incredibly boring. There's really not much. Oh, Kimberly's on. Hey, Kimberly. So crawling, when you're doing crawling by yourself, it's like, I don't know, like trying to play tennis by yourself. It just doesn't work. You need somebody there to challenge you, and you need to sort of have a little bit of an interaction to see who can pick the better lines and do the better course. Crawling by on your own is kind of like Losi LMT. Now, forgive my ignorance here, but the Losi LMT that you're talking about, that's the new Gravedigger. God, my brain is half asleep already. That's the new Gravedigger, right? I like it. I haven't seen an ETA for them to arrive here in the country. I have a strange feeling that they're going to be so expensive that our distributor is going to be too scared to bring them in because they might end up stuck with them. It's happened before. I think it's one of the reasons why we still don't have the Losi DBXL 2.0 because they were so expensive that they kind of just hesitated in getting any sort of stock in here. The Losi, the first, get this right, the first shipment of the Losi DBXL 2.0 is due to arrive in Australia, I think around mid-January 2021. You correct me if I'm wrong, but the Losi DBXL 2.0 has been around since I think it was late 2019. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But that's going to be over a year since the announcement of that car that we're going to get, until we get our first shipment here in the country. That's, ugh. What do we got going on here? Adam says, I live in the West and was wondering if you know of any long, flat and wide roads for speed runs. Out West, there are some places that I've been scouting on Google Maps, and there's actually some places out. I'm presuming you're saying out west in Melbourne. If you say out west, like in Perth, I have no idea. I have no idea. But if I think it's towards Hoppers Crossing or Point Cook, there is some really more like modern industrial areas there, and they have some pretty interesting roads that I'm very much I've kind of earmarked them on my Google Maps app, and I'm hoping to get out there and try them out because I'm going to be doing a little bit of a test run with the Limitless in my usual spot, even though the road's very short, but it's mainly going to be just like on 4S, just to see if the setup is all good and the car's performing well and all that sort of gear. I might try a pass on 6S, but if going by the setup of the car, like, you do your math and you look at what other people have done on YouTube already, like the car as it is at the moment on 6S should hit over 115, 120 mile an hour. That's if the setup is correct. So I want to do a trial pass first on 4S, which should give me probably 100 mile an hour as it is, or close to. And then I'll try and do a sneaky pass on 6S, but I don't know, man. Like I need a bigger road and I need to head out to somewhere. I know that in the southeastern suburbs, there's been a few people that have invited me to go out there. That apparently there's some roads out there in the southeast of Melbourne that are supposed to be pretty good for some, some really fast speed runs. But we'll see. At the moment, it all comes down to time. I only have 2 days off per week. And when, if I have some nice days, I have to, do I go do some flying? Do I go bashing? Do I go do speed runs and drive for an hour? I have to sort of cut my time up. And then you got to remember, like on the weekends, it's the only time I get to spend with my kids as well. So how do I balance all of this? And, and then on Sunday, I'm back at work. So I don't, it's a bit of a juggling act. And, yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes to have all these little projects that you want to do and just not enough time. So what else we got going on here? There's one. Okay, here. Time for work. Take care, Rosie. Okay, see you guys. Do you still have your Dynam Wacko? No, I sold that years ago. The Dynam Wacko, I sold that a very, very long time ago. You stated that the Carnage crew is no longer around. What happened? Kids and RC, bring them in the hobby. Yeah, look, Kimberly's got a very valid point. I've tried very hard to bring my kids into this hobby. Like any kid, right? Any kid under the age of 15, they walk into a room like this with all these toys in the background and batteries and drones and planes and cars and all sorts of things. Like, you'd be like a kid in a candy store. Like, you'd go nuts. But it's one of those situations where, you speak to anyone that's in a particular industry, right? Especially if you're in like an entertainment industry or anything like that. Like, sometimes I see stories of like comedians, all right? And comedians, they do their stand-up and everything, and their kids are the ones that find them the least funny. And it's really kind of, there's a similarity there. There's a common ground where I have all of this stuff, and my kids show the least amount of interest in it. And I don't know if it's because it's dad's thing, like that's uncool. I don't know. But, any kid would love to have access to any of this stuff here. But my kids are just not interested. I've tried many times to get them in, and I've got videos on the channel of me kind of, getting them involved. I did a drift thing with my son here in the garage. We did a crawling thing on the bench here when I had those little Hobby King little crawlers. I can't remember what they're called, rock stars or something they were called. The whole RC Race Wars, okay? RC Race Wars, which I haven't done now in about 2 years almost or thereabouts, because the track that I used to do it at obviously is no longer accessible. So RC Race Wars began by me handing the remotes to my kids and having my kids kind of do a little bit of a run around and race each other. That was the first thing that sparked the whole RC Race Wars in my head. And I thought, okay, well, how about we actually put two cars head to head and see how different they are. The whole idea with that concept was you can see a car run by itself and do jumps, and you can see how it works and how it handles and all that. And then, a few days later, you see another video of another car in the same scenario, and you can sort of make a bit of a judgment call. But it's not until you put them side by side that you realize, wow, this one handles so much better than the other one, right? And that was the whole idea. So in Race Wars, there was times when I would do a complete mismatch of cars to just, A, for the comedic appeal, and also just to see how different these vehicles actually are. So that was the whole idea with Race Wars, was to put these 2 or 3 cars against each other doing laps, just so people could see the differences in the way they perform and the way they handle. And all of that started by me handing the remotes to my kids and just watching them sort of race around and do some things. But they just have no interest. I mean, my daughter doesn't come out with us when I'm doing my bashing videos anymore. She doesn't come out when I'm doing speed runs. And when I ask my son to do speed runs, he always does it. My son's got a heart of gold. He's an absolute champion. And, he'll come out and he'll help me. And, he always asks, how many cars are we doing? How many batteries are we doing? Because it's like in his mind, he's like, well, I'm going to help you, but you got to give me a time frame of how long this is going to take. All right? Because my son's got a little bit of Asperger's. So he has to have like everything sort of planned out. There has to be a schedule in his mind. Because if I say to him, yeah, we're only doing 2 cars, but we get there and there's 4, he he doesn't know how to react to that. Even if I do it as a joke, in his mind, he's like, "Oh, hang on, you told me that it was only going to be two. Now, wait, so how much longer is this going to take?" And it spoils his mood a bit. So, um, yeah, he'll always do it. My son will be doing speed runs with me as long as I do the channel, as long as I'll be doing speed runs. Um, he'll always do it, but I have to ask him nicely, and and once he's done, he just, yeah, like he'll fall asleep in the car ride on the way from my house to the location to the speed run, which is like 10-15 minutes. He'll fall asleep. That's how excited he is about going to do speed runs. So that tells you, how involved my kids are. um, oh, thanks, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Um, I'm a fan. Let's do RC videos for fans. My dad got me into RCs in the 90s with the Tamiya CC01. Um, I've been into RC since 2016. Well, I got interested in RC stuff because of my dad. Well, see, I sometimes, well, a lot of people got Asperger's, yeah. Um, Mini Z, someone's asking me about the Mini Z. I don't have Mini Zs. I don't really have anywhere to run them, so I don't know if I'd ever get one, if that's what you're asking. Um, yeah, it's forgot a lot of rich people too. A lot of rich people, huh? Okay. Um, yeah, well, Noah unfortunately doesn't fall into that category, at least not yet. He's trying very hard at the moment. My daughter is into anything K-pop. She's into. She loves BTS and Blackpink and all these other K-pop groups. Um, she loves playing video games as well. She loves movies. She actually likes a lot of old school movies, like the '80s movies, like Breakfast Club, you know, Sweet 16, and all those sort of things. Like those old movies, she loves them. Um, my son is a pretty heavy gamer, and he got that from me because before I was doing all of this, I was pretty heavy into video games myself. So, but I was always a PlayStation player, not a PC player or anything like that. And he kind of got addicted to that from me. So I have only myself to blame because he saw me doing a lot of that, and I aided that. I facilitated his access to video games and that type of thing. So that's partially my fault. But at the same time, I've also encourage them to, let's put the screens down for a second. Let's go outside and enjoy some sunshine because it is a nice day. Um, so I try to get him involved in that way as well, but they won't have a bar of it, like there's all these new toys. Sometimes I get excited. I go, no, look at this new car that I got. How cool is it? And he's just like, oh yeah, that's cool. Turns around, starts playing his Rocket League. Right? It's just that's just how he is. Um, good with numbers and patterns. Yes, it's funny you say that because he's actually a really good student in maths. Although he has been doing maths methods, and he's actually dropping it next year because next year he's in year 12, and he goes, I can't handle maths methods. So he's just going to go to what's it called, basic maths or whatever it's called. Introduce your daughter to New Zealand Japanese teen group put together by famous Korean artist. Oh, I'm sure she knows a lot of K-pop groups that I don't even know. I just remember a couple of them. I actually took her. Some of you may not know this, but I actually took her in 2019. So was it last year or 2018? No, it was 2019. In 2019, in June 2019, I took her to Rod Laver Arena here in Melbourne, and we went and saw Blackpink. We saw the concert for Blackpink, and I was like, I don't know about this, man. Like, K-pop group. And I have to say, I had an absolute ball. The atmosphere was unbelievable. the music was actually played live. So there was an actual band playing the goddamn music. It wasn't just some dude on a keyboard or a computer. It was an amazing night. The show was fantastic. If she ever says to me, "Hey, let's go watch," such and such group, I'll probably say yes. Yeah, all right, let's go, let's do it. I had a blast. Really good, really good. The last concert I went to was Pink Floyd tribute band. So that kind of tells you how many concerts I've been to and what I've been out there watching. And that was when my dad was still alive, and my son was 1 years old, or maybe less than one. I thought it was my sister's birthday. It was on the 1st of December, so it was my sister's birthday, and we went and saw Pink Floyd, and they played the Dark Side of the Moon album from start to finish, and then they did some the Wall songs. They did some tracks from the Wall album as well afterwards. But they like the tribute band is as good as the original. Like the music is phenomenal. The show was amazing. So, can you tell us why you hate Traxxas? Oh, that's funny. How old am I? I'm 44. Um, thought I could game until the internet. I got old. I got old for it anyway. Why? Who doesn't? Someone who doesn't hate Traxxas? Um, Look, I've explained this story many times. Um, I've explained this story many times, but it basically comes down to the brand's ethics, um, and how they conduct themselves. That's really what it comes down to. The products themselves, like people take things so personally when I talk about T brand. They take things so personally because I don't really show um, too much T brand stuff here on the channel. Um, and it's not so much because they have bad products or anything like that. I mean, in fairness, they have a couple of real lemons that they do refuse to upgrade or update, um, that have inherent problems, but that's another story. But it's just the way that the brand conducts itself, all the lawsuits, all the stories that happen internally. Like there was an article that came out a couple of years ago now, about how some of the CEOs and executives in the company treated some of their employees. There were a couple of whistleblowers that came out and said some pretty nasty things about the company and how it conducted itself. And like, I don't want to go into too much detail on that sort of stuff. That's none of my business. But there's things like that that kind of put me off. And it's just their level of arrogance as well with some of their products. Um, but then they have some products that are actually pretty good. I just don't favor them. I think there's enough brands on the market today that I can enjoy without ever having the desire to own, a T brand product. I the, I have the X-Maxx. I have the X-Maxx for two reasons. There's only two reasons why I got that truck. Number one, I wanted to compare it against the Creighton 8S because at the time, because you got to remember the Creighton 8S has been out now for a year, and at the time, there were a lot of people comparing it to the X-Maxx, and now the X-Maxx is still better, the X-Maxx is still king, and all this sort of stuff. And I never really owned one. I've worked on them, I've sold them, but I've never owned one. So I'm like, all right, if one pops up, I'll buy it if it's in the right price. And this was the right price. It was $700 secondhand with an extra body, which is the rock and roll body, which is sitting up there. I've hardly used the rock and roll body. And it's an expensive body. That body alone is like, with the cage and everything, is like $150 or something. So when I got the truck had not been run very much. It was pretty good nick. And I thought, okay, this is probably a good opportunity for me to get it and try it and just see what all the fuss is about, why everybody falls in love with this truck, why everyone's talking so highly about it. And that's why I got that truck. But in the past, I had the Stampede 4x4, I had the Stampede two-wheel drive, I built a couple of Rustler two-wheel drives, I had the Telluride, I had the Traxxas Rally, I had the Traxxas Teton, I had the Traxxas Alias, which was the quad. Um, what else did I have? Was that it? Oh, one of my original T brand car was an X-Maxx. E-Maxx. Sorry, was an E-Maxx. That was my original T brand product, which was the old short wheelbase one with the black chassis and everything. Had the twin. Was it the twin? Yeah, twin brushed motors and twin nickel metal batteries. So that was my original T brand product that I bought. So I've had quite a number of their products on the channel, and they're still up for you guys to have a look at. But there's just not a lot. There's not a lot of desire for me to own any of their other stuff. If it wasn't for the Creighton 8S, I probably wouldn't have the X-Maxx. Let me put it to you that way. So that's probably the main reason why I got it. Innovative AVAS, how are you? What do you think of the Rustler 4x4? The Rustler 4x4, I haven't owned one. I can only tell you what I know based on customer experience, I guess. For the most part, I think a lot of people are happy with them. I think a lot of the guys that buy them, at least from my shop, they have no idea what they're doing with them. And they blow out tires and smack them into things. But they're a pretty decent car. I think, look, if I'm going to really give you the harsh truth, there's really only a couple of things that T brand needs to work on, and that's their large scale ESCs. So the ESC off the X-Maxx, the UDR, and the Max at the moment, those three ESCs are a problem child. We have had quite a number of them going to the flashing red light of death, and within quite a short period of time. So it doesn't happen to every car, but there have been quite a number of people that have had those ESCs fail. I'm sort of anticipating that my X-Maxx will eventually have that flashing red light of death on the ESC, and that might actually happen. But if they can fix that, then they'll actually be, there'll be some pretty good cars. The Haas, we only just got the Haas recently in the country, and we've been selling them pretty well, even though they're just ridiculously overpriced, in my opinion. They're $970 here in Australia, which is probably about, if I'm going to be fair, probably about $200 too expensive, at least. All right, but people are paying for them. They'll buy them, and they'll buy the batteries and buy the chargers, and they'll walk out the door $1,200 lighter than what they came in, or more. So people are obviously buying those cars. But yeah, that's just my opinion on those. If they can fix the ESCs, they'll actually be all right. They also need to update their damn it, X01. A fresh body, maybe some new wheels. Keep the same tires if you want, but a fresh body. Do something on the chassis, a couple of tweaks, and that car would take off again, to gain popularity again. Releasing it with just a new color scheme, that's bullshit. Let's face it. I mean, come on. That car's been around for a long time. It deserves an update. The X01 should really be, going toe to toe with Arma stuff. It was the original car, the original 100-mile-an-hour car, and again, that's, in my personal opinion, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but that's T-Brand's arrogance at its finest. It's like, no, we've got the car. We've got the X01. That was the original car. So why should we update it? Right? I mean, I was already in the second generation of those 7-scale cars, and T-Brand hasn't done anything in the X01 since it's released. I don't understand the logic. I really don't. What's minimum wage in Australia? Dude, I got no idea. Google it. What's up, Vaz from Dallas? Michael, how you doing? They are enough. They have enough licensing where a licensed body for it. Mama Monster 2 is the best ESC ever made. Okay. Are you planning to get the gas-powered RC anytime soon? If I get anything gas-powered, it's probably going to be a plane. Been thinking about shying from hobby shops and going strictly online. Really, have they now? That's interesting. Flying Haas is an extended Stampede 4x4. Yeah, Traxxas suck, period. Kimberly, you're not entirely wrong. The servos, especially from T-Brand. Ugh. Like, people complain about the red steering servo on the Arma 6S cars. Pfft, man, those servos are nothing on the blue ones. Trust me. Been telling what? Local hobby shop been telling me crap about their stupid business plans. Yeah. If you really think about the Rustler 4x4, high quality plastic, $300 max, and the small 3S motor in ESC, and what do they sell for? $799. Great car, but so expensive. Yeah. To be fair, the logic is obvious. They are a business. If things are selling, keep selling it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Not defending, just saying. Yeah, but I find that to be a complacent state of mind. You know, that's a complacent state of mind. That's not. If you are a true business plan, like any business would want to strive and beat last year's figures and do better, sell more, increase sales volumes. You have, a competitor that's come on the scene and has a couple of cars. Well, they got 3 now. That is a direct competition to what you've got, and they're offering different versions of that car. So it's not just a speed car. It's also a drifter. It's also a street basher. It's also a cool, hot rod thing. And you're not lifting a finger to try and tap into that market. I mean, why wouldn't you? It seems odd that they would just sit on their hands and do nothing for so long. I mean, look at the Revo 2.0. How long did that take to come out? Why didn't they update that car sooner? Why did it take, when was it? I think when Arma was in their 3rd incarnation of the 6S cars that, T-Brand decided, ooh, maybe we should do something about this. It's like, come on, man, you should have had a business plan in place. The Granite. Okay, so the Granite. This is a great question from Kimberly. How much is the Granite 3S V3 compared to the Haas? The Haas is $970. The Granite is under $600. So there's a $300 difference or thereabouts between one and the other. That kind of tells you the story. I have bone stock Creighton 6S V4. If I would upgrade something, what would you say? If you're gonna, well, it depends how hard you drive it. If you're just putting around on flat ground, you probably don't really need to do too much other than maybe just get a better servo if you want something to steer better. I don't know. But I like my Creighton V4. Sorry. Watch this. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right. Watch this. So, Creighton V4. I have stock ESC. I've got, I'll do it this way. I've got my rocket motor, which is the, where are we? It's a 4092 1650 kV, sorry, not 14. What did I say it was a V4? 1580 or something. 1650 kV. I have stock steering servo, but I have the aluminium motor mount. Aluminium chassis braces front and rear. Hinge pin braces front and rear, so they're there. And I have this one, which is the little Anchorman. And then I've got T-bone bumpers and a wheelie bar, T-bone wheelie bar on the back. This is my V4 Creighton as it stands. The arms are stock, the wing mounts stock, shocks are all stock, the diffs are all stock. I haven't touched the diffs, I haven't shimmed the diffs, I haven't done anything like that. The chassis is still stock, right? No M2C chassis or anything like that. Shock towers are stock. I think that's it. That's all of it. The arms are not RPM or anything. They're all stock arms. That's my V4. And I've done it like that just because I like to send it over at the jumps and at the BMX track. So that's why. Timothy, hello. Matthew, hey mate, fellow Aussie here. How are you? Hey Matthew, how you doing? Traxxas didn't figure out that it was mostly the bearing sizes that gave customers grief in the differentials. Creighton, one car with 5 parts. Wow. Minimum wage is $20 in Australia. It's $7.50 in the States. Yeah, but your dollar is also worth more. A humble build. Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much. Ooh, battery's dying. Hold on, gotta get my charger. God damn it. Sorry. I just realized the phone's giving me warnings. Your battery is going down. I was at about 70% when I started this, or 60%, so definitely choose. Someone says, no, it's $27 for minimum wage. That sounds high. I don't think it is. Yeah, tell us about the hobby industry in Australia. The hobby industry in Australia? What do you want to know specifically? Have you tried the Louise Bulldoze, as they are great for the Arma Typhon 6S? Okay, so Louise tires have their place. I find that the rubber that Louise uses is not as good on some of the buggy tires and the monster truck tires, or even the truggy tires. It's a little bit thin and a bit fragile. So if you run 6S in your cars, Louise tires may not hold on very well. So whenever I get people coming into the shop and wanting new tires for their Typhon or their Creighton or whatever, my first question is, do you run 6S in your car? If you run 6S in your car, I don't really recommend Louise tires. If you run 4S, you're fine, you're sweet. All right, because I've ran 4S Louise tires in my Italian V1. I've ran them in the Losi 8 running on 4S. They work fine. And I've even got them. I've got Louise tires in my Centon V1, also running 4S. Excuse me, and that works fine. But the minute you put 6S through those tires, you're going to find that they're going to struggle to stay in one piece. That's just based on my personal experience and feedback that I've received back from several customers. So, yeah, Louise definitely have their place. They have some good tires. For example, I got Louise tires on my X-Maxx because they're belted, no problem. The Louise tires, the belted on-road Louise tires that they've got, to do some speed runs or some street bashing, no problem. But yeah, if you put them on off-road cars, be careful. It's just my advice. Huge diffs in the 2.0, but it's the damn bearing size increase that made the most difference. Hi from Portugal. Simão, thanks for the stream. Simão Bota. Bota means boot in Portuguese. G'day Vas, g'day Wobby. Vas, you still have the... Do I still have that V8 Ford? No. You're talking about my XR8? No, my XR8, I got rid of that when I got divorced because I had nowhere to put it. At the time, I was driving a company car. So I had my own company car, and I had the XR8 as a weekend cruiser, as a weekend car. And when I got divorced from the wife, we sold the house, and I hadn't found a place to live yet. So I had to actually move in with my mum for about 3 months until I found a place to live. And it's really strange, right? I'll tell you this story because it's kind of funny. I owned my own home, right? And well, we owned our own home, and we sold the house, and then we split everything 50-50, right? Which was really good. And I tried to find a place to live, but because the way rent works here, like if you're a tenant, if you want to be a tenant, you have to have referrals. You got to have some kind of, it's like a resume, and you have references, right? So if you've never worked before, and all of a sudden you want to get a job, you have to start at the bottom of the ladder, all right? So you got to be the cleaner, the janitor, and then work your way up to cash register, and then eventually you can start, floor manager, and you move your way up. So it's a similar sort of concept when you're renting. If you've never rented before, they're going to look at you and go, I don't know how reliable this guy's going to be. So they're going to move you on. And it took me a long time to find this place because nobody would take me on. Nobody would accept me as a tenant. And I was very fortunate to have a friend, a school friend, whose name's Rob. And Rob actually runs his own real estate agency thing. And I got in contact with him, and I said, dude, I'm having a real hard time here finding somewhere to live because nobody's going to, no one's giving me a property. And he goes, oh, have a chat to these guys over at Love Real Estate and whatever, and just tell them I sent you. They know who I am. So sure enough, I put my name down. I put Rob's name down as a reference. Next thing I know, phone's ringing. Oh, you want to come have a look at this house? Yeah, sure, no worries. So yeah, came and checked out the house. I go, I'll take it. And they go, yeah, no worries, it's yours. So it's sometimes in situations like this, it's who you know, not what you know. But yeah, that's how I got this place. And because I didn't have a place to live, going back to the original Ford story, I had nowhere to put the car. I really, like, my mum only has a single car garage. My dad, at the time, I think my dad was living in a 1-bedroom unit or something, because my dad and my mum split as well. So my dad was living somewhere. I didn't have nowhere to put the car, and then I sold it, and I ended up selling it to a mate of mine, and I sold it for peanuts, like, honestly, because the car was unregistered. I'd let the rego lapse, so I sold it for next to nothing, and then I just used the money. I bought a motorbike instead. So I had a road bike. I had a Suzuki SV650. Suzuki SV650. It was an open frame bike. It was really good, and I had that for 2 or 3 years, and that was good. Weekends. This was before the hobby. This was before any of this started, and it was just nice on weekends. On my weekends off, it was a nice day. I'd go for a ride, visit some friends. But then it got boring because you're riding by yourself. It gets boring. It's always good if you have somebody with you. If you got company, you enjoy the ride a lot more. Which is weird because you're on your bike. It's not like you can be cruising on the freeway. You're having a chat. You can't do that. But for some reason, it's more enjoyable to have somebody there with you as you're cruising along than it is to cruise by yourself. Isn't that a weird thing? It's like a mental state, right? It's just your brain playing tricks on you. I drive a Turbo Crown Victoria, 525 horsepower. It's nasty. That sucks. Having to sell stuff you love just because you got nowhere to keep it. Yeah. Kings RC, Mojave EXB or RTR? I think the RTR today, the V2, is going to be more than enough for most people. I said this from the start. When they announced the EXB Mojave, I kind of felt like that's a wasted opportunity. Maybe, like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people love that car and they're going to sell like hotcakes regardless. But I just think that out of all the cars in their lineup, why would you EXB what is arguably your toughest vehicle to come out of the factory, which is the Mojave? Like, you've just made the best car you have even better, I guess. But I feel like, yeah, okay, the Creighton definitely, that's good to have as an EXB. But I would have thought that the next logical choice would be the Outcast or a Notorious. To have the Mojave as an EXB, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they did it wrong. It's just that I think they could have chosen a better car deserving of that EXB treatment. I guess that's what I'm saying. Outcast ADS. Okay. What's your go-to online RC parts shop? Whoa. I use a variety of different things. I mean, look, I get a lot of stuff through my hobby shop, so I guess that I'm the wrong person to ask for that question, because I get a lot of stuff through the hobby shop. I just, like, if I want something and we have access to that distributor, I just order it in. But if I have to go online, I usually go, like, for example, I buy a lot of little knickknacks and little things like, let me show you, like zip ties and things like this, right? Like, this is like, there's like over almost 2,000 zip ties in here. And you might be thinking, what do you want with so many zip ties? Well, these are tiny little zip ties, which are great for wire management, because they don't have to be super strong, but they have to be really thin and very small, right? They only need to be little. And these, you buy like a pack of 1,000 of these from Banggood for like $7 or $8, So I do buy a lot of little knickknacks like this from Banggood. I don't usually use them for too much else. I saw that they had some really cheap steering servos. So they had these 25 kilogram steering servos, and I can't for the life of me remember how much these are, but these were pretty cheap. And I thought, I'll buy them and I'll try them. I got 2 of them. I'm yet to use them. I might put one of them in my Creighton or something like that. I'll buy from the competition. Someone said, yeah, I do, because I like to see what other people are using. I still buy, like, when I built the Limitless and I put a Savox servo in that, like, I bought that myself. The same thing with the, when I did the build for the Pro MT, the Proline Pro MT, like, a lot of the stuff I paid for myself and I bought that through the shop, right? So I still buy a lot of things locally, like receivers for my Futaba and my Spectrum radios. I buy that through the shop, obviously. Excuse me. A lot of the batteries that I have, I buy them myself. Like all of these Ovonic batteries that you see here. Like, I bought these 2, along with there were some more 2200 batteries that I bought for my plane. So I paid for these, but then Ovonic sent me 4 of these. All right. So kind of works like that. So I still buy a lot of stuff myself. Don't think that I'm just, and I buy from everywhere. I sometimes go and buy stuff from Hobby King. Like, Hobby King is the only place where I know I can get XT150 connectors. So I always buy XT150 connectors. Like, have a look at this, right? I always like to keep a good stock of my connectors and my stuff and stuff like that. So, sorry. You won't be able to see it unless I tilt it. Watch this. So you see this? Look, I have all sorts of connectors in here. Bullets, XT30s, XT60s, leftover wires and cables and things like that. I keep all this sort of stuff. Another phone's tilted. I keep all this sort of stuff, and I buy a lot of these types of connectors, and I always have stock of these sort of things. Like when I'm doing an order, like for example, I don't know, let's say for argument's sake, I need to buy an ESC from Hobby King. I don't just buy the ESC. I'll buy the ESC and I'll stock up on some connectors or something like that, like XT150s or whatever. 4mm bullets I'll get from work because we stock 4mm bullets, and 3.5 mils, and stuff like that. So yeah, I do get some things sent to me, but I still spend quite a fair bit of money on a lot of stuff myself. So just so you know. What's a good battery for 6S Creighton? Have the new V5 Creighton, haven't run it yet. Need battery with IC5. If you were to buy an RC right now, it would be in... Oh, sorry, if I were to buy an RC, it would be an X-Maxx or Mojave or a low-C Nitro. You will literally... I'm wait, okay. Proline MT discontinued, gone. I don't know why. Just buy a complete Horizon. Horizon will own everything soon. Yeah, probably. What's your opinion on the V5 Arma 6S line? How do you think those cars will do? Do you think you will get one? The V5 cars, I have no desire to own any of those. So don't expect to see a V5 car, V5 6S car on the channel. I honestly, I have no intentions of getting any of them. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. I got no intentions of getting any of them. I think they're going to do quite well. I like the fact that they incorporated some of the stuff. I suppose that the EXB Creighton kind of gave us a little bit of a preview of what the V5 cars were going to be like. I do find it weird though that they put the beefed up arms on the V5 Creighton, the same as I think they're the same arms that it's on the EXB. And I find that a little strange because I think that takes a little bit of the shine off the EXB Creighton. That being said, the EXB still has a number of upgrades that the regular Ready to Run doesn't have. It doesn't have, I don't think the Ready to Run's got the aluminium servo mount or the aluminium chassis braces. It doesn't have the LSD diffs, I don't think. So there's still quite a number of things that obviously the XB has over the Ready to Run, but I don't know about that decision of the arms. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not so good. I don't know. I suppose time will tell. Cheers from France. Thank you. Been out bashing much since lockdown lift? Yeah, I mean, I went on Friday. I took 4 cars with me on Friday. I took 3 Creightons. I took the Creighton 8S, the EXB Creighton, and the V4 Creighton. All went out for a bash. The only one I technically, well, no, I broke 2. I broke the EXB Creighton Link, which was just this guy. So I broke that there. And I broke the axle on my E5HX. When I was running 4S, I was pretty convinced that 4S was going to be a bit too much for that car, but it's stupid fun. And I was doing the first section of jumps, and I thought I'll jump it and I'll pin the throttle and just see what happens. And the first couple of times, I don't know, the motor or the ESC or something hesitated, and then eventually I got the thing to actually start flipping. And once it gets flipping on 4S, like I lost count of how many rotations in the air this thing actually took, and it landed pretty badly. And I think on my second or third landing that I tried to do this, it broke the axle. So I got to replace that. It's not really a big deal. I think I may actually have spares here, so I might be able to fix it pretty easily. But yeah, I broke 2 cars. The Creighton 8S also came across a problem. The Max 5 ESC fan broke 2 blades and the fan was jammed. So the ESC was overheating. So I was losing power because I think it was shutting down. And also that stupid Sky RC little fan unit that I put on the motor, that also stopped working for some reason. So I got to figure out what's wrong with those two fans and fix them and replace them or whatever. And yeah, that was my experience. So I'm hoping to get back there again on Friday. Friday looks to be like a decent day, so hopefully I can get back out there and do some more running videos for you guys. So that's the plan, but we'll see. Do you just not think the V5 lineup is a good deal for what you get, or do you just really had enough of Creighton's and not justify? Have I had enough of Creighton's? No. I mean, look, if I was still sort of working alongside with, collaborating with Horizon and Arma, if that relationship was still alive and well, I'm pretty sure I'd still be keen on getting one of those. But the situation has become so kind of mute now. I don't even know what the right word for this is. It's like initially I was pretty heartbroken. I was, obviously upset that relationship broke down. But now I'm really so over it. And I'm actually, if anything, I'm probably getting more and more frustrated with Horizon in general. Anything else, because there's just doesn't seem to be any emphasis on supporting the hobby as a whole here in this country when it comes to Horizon hobby products. And like I said, when I unboxed the Creighton EXB, I kind of touched on this a little bit, and I don't know if it's because of just simply being a logistics thing where we are so far on the other side of the world that it just takes that much longer, or if it's the simple fact that whoever's in charge and says, right, US gets this many planes and cars and boats, Europe gets this many planes and cars and boats, and Australia, well, yeah, you can have the scraps. I don't know if that's the way that it works, or if it's just the fact that, well, everybody gets the same, but you guys are going to have to wait longer because you are so far away. But it just doesn't feel like that's the answer. The answer seems to be more like, yeah, we're going to look after our bigger markets first. Stuff you guys, you can get the leftovers. That's what it feels like. So for me to go out of my way now and pay for cars that are just not available in the country, I mean, I wanted to review the Big Rock Crew Cab. I wanted to review that car. When they announced those 3S lines, the Big Rock Crew Cab is one car that I've gone, wow, they've made it wider, it looks so much better. It's got that black matte body, which is kind of a bit of a throwback to, excuse me, it's a bit of a throwback to the original Big Rock, which had that black body. And I thought this would be perfect, right? I'd love to get this car. I've never had a Granite BLX as such. I had a Granite Mega, but I've never had like a 3S monster truck 4x4 from Arma. It's one of those things that have just eluded me over the years. I've never managed to get one. I've got the Senton and the Typhon 3S, but never a Granite or a Big Rock. So I wanted to get one, and the first shipment turned up, and it was all pre-sold, and I just couldn't get it. And now we're waiting for our next shipment, which I think is going to be coming around just before Christmas. And again, I've been pretty much told, no, we can't allocate a car to you. The distributor here, for the Horizon Hobby products, they're a great group of guys. I don't want to badmouth them or anything like that, but they couldn't care less about some dude playing with cars on YouTube. They're not going to help me or stick their neck out for me and, oh yeah, no worries, yeah, we'll grab a car and we'll put it aside for you. They're not going to give a shit. They want to sell the product. They want to make the most amount of money with it. So, if the product's popular, that's the way that it goes. They're not going to do that. So, and I can't blame them for that. I can't, say that that's not the right way to do it. They're a business at the end of the day, and they're not going to give 10 bloody rat's asses about me wanting to review some product that's going to outsell everything anyway. It's not like they need the promotional work, so why would they put a car aside for me. So they're not coming to the party. They're not helping me. Horizon obviously have distanced themselves. Arma have got no leverage. Even though I'm able to contact Jason Dearden anytime I want. Not that he'll automatically reply to me or anything like that. It doesn't work that way. But I can send him a message, but he's got no leverage. He can't help me. At least that's what he tells me. So when it comes to things like that, it kind of feels like, yeah, I'd really love to keep promoting the brand, but there's just no availability here. And when you look at the lack of support from the global distributor of that brand, it kind of begs the question as to why should I bother? If no one's really aiming to promote the hobby in this country, and I'm not going to get the support that I should get, I guess, even though I'm prepared to be a paying customer. I'm not asking for free handouts. It kind of feels like, well, why should I bother? In the meantime, I've got other people that are willing to support the channel and willing to, want their product to be promoted. I'll rather put my time and effort and money into their products. So that's where that's gone, I suppose. But I'm not trying to badmouth the V5 cars or anything like that. I think every time Arma does an update, I don't think they've ever really taken a step backwards, with the exception of the V4s when they put the tower-to-tower brace and I had the chassis bend all kinds of weird ways. That was probably the only thing that maybe they could have done. They could have tested better and could have done better. And I think they did at the end of the day. I mean, you look at the V5 plastic chassis braces that they have now, it's completely different to the V4s. So they've obviously learnt something from that experience that I had, and they've made improvements accordingly. So the only downside with the Arma cars is that when I started working for Metro, those cars, a 6S Creighton, you could pick one up for like $750. Or if I think when it was like at the end of the run, you could maybe get one for like $700, on sale just to clear them out. Now, the Creightons are coming in at just shy of $1,000. So, they've gone from a V3, and it's like every year they go up like by $100. So, or thereabouts. So, yeah, they make improvements, but they're also charging you for them. Don't be mistaken. They're getting more and more expensive every time, and in a year or two when they release a V6, it's probably going to clock over $1,000. It's simple as that. So it's just the way it is. What do we got? Geez, so many things that I missed. Just got here. Hi everyone. Hey Ray. Do you just not think the V5 line? Okay, I answered that. Get the light guy. I'm sorry, and is it Horizon that you're put off by? The reason you didn't like it's not that I didn't like the V5s. No part support is not good in US either. Hoon tires, what a joke. HBI, dead brand. I don't know if HBI is a dead brand. I think they're dormant, and I think they've got some big plans coming for 2021, at least from what I hear. But I don't think they're dead. So don't rule out HBI just yet. Plus, they just kind of partnered up with me. So, they've given me a Maverick car for me to do some content with. And there's the possibility of some more products in the future. So, yeah, don't count HBI out just yet. Guess I didn't understand the logistics. I can understand your perspective now. Plus, Horizon did pull some crap. Like the electrics are rebranded Hobby Wing, yeah. There was a lawsuit, there was a receiver box. The big rock body is the best one Arma makes, yeah. Sold my Savage Flux because parts are non-existent or stupid expensive from the US, yeah. At the moment, yeah. Businesses are all greedy and uncaring, really. Just kept playing Hungry Hippo game with money. I still have the Blitz HPI. I still got my Savage XS, believe it or not, my HPI Savage XS, which is a great little truck. But ever since I upgraded it, I put the wheelie bar on it, I put a new body on it, and I just haven't driven it since. The distribution system inside Oz for our hobby has been garbage for a long time. Yeah, look, I have a very strong opinion about the distribution system here in this country, but I don't really want to voice it publicly because it may actually cost me my job. But yeah, the distribution system here in the country is not exactly done right. And it's not like it's illegal or anything like that. There's nothing bad. It's just that there are certain individuals that could definitely do their job better. Let's just put it that way. And that's where I'll leave that. And that's it. Armor part support and even its customer service is very much focused on the US market. Yep. Now that it's owned by a US company, that makes a lot more sense. But I mean, it was owned by Hobbyco before, which was also a US company. But there was a significant cultural difference between when I was working with Hobbyco to when the shift happened. Excuse me, to when the shift happened to Horizon Hobby. There was an immediate shift, all right, and I could sense it pretty much instantly. The lack of communication, the way things were said, what I was being supported with, like all of these things were completely different. And I'm not saying that one did it better than the other. I think they both did a good job, but I think the way in which it was done and the overall cultural atmosphere that I felt through the emails and through the phone calls and all that, there was a significant shift in the axis when it went from Hobbyco to Horizon Hobby. And it was never the same. And, in hindsight, looking at the way that things turned out, I really shouldn't have been that surprised. I really shouldn't have been, because there was obviously, there were just some things, like little things that you pick up along the way that's gone, oh, that's different. Oh, okay, there's a different tone here. There's a different feel. You know what I mean? And it never really got to the point, like when I was talking to my Hobbyco contact, it was just super friendly, and they were just enthusiastic about supporting the channel and getting the product out, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I think you're gonna love it. And there was just this really, I don't know, it was just a much more friendly, there was a level of camaraderie that was just not ever evident when I dealt with Horizon Hobby. For that 12 months or so that I was dealing with Horizon Hobby, it just wasn't the same. So yeah, it's a shame that Hobbyco folded, that they disappeared, because had they not, I think there would still be, I would still be dealing with Arma and everything would be just awesome. But everything shifted when Horizon took over, and yeah, it's a shame. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with that point of view, because it's pretty obvious that things are different. Whether they're better or worse, that's up to you guys to decide amongst yourselves. But yeah, it's definitely different, that's for sure. Bypass, don't stop uploading. Thanks, man. Well, wow, we're going for an hour and 40 minutes, I just realized. VXL, wish success Creightons still cost that much. Yeah, I know. I wish success Creightons still cost around $700 or $800, because that was one of the biggest selling points of Arma back when the V3s, V2s and V3s were around. The biggest selling point for Arma was that it was like $250, $300 cheaper than the equivalent eRevo 1.0, right? The V1 eRevo. And there was such a price gap between the two that it's like, okay, well, you could buy the Creighton, batteries and charger, and probably still be, a few bucks cheaper than buying an eRevo. And that was what really put Arma on the map. But now it's gotten to the point where man, you're splitting hairs here as far as pricing goes between an e-Revo and a Creighton 6S. So it now comes just down to personal preference. Do you like red or blue? Do you like, Ford or Holden? That sort of thing. So it's no longer, why would you pick one when you can have the other so much cheaper and it's just as good or whatever. Like that selling point is really not there anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are other angles you can attack this. Obviously, the Creighton is that much stronger. It's got a better servo now apparently, which that yet to be, jury's out on that one. It's got a fan on the motor where before it didn't. You've got better chassis braces. You've got ridges on the chassis to strengthen the back of it, which hopefully will make it a little bit stronger. There's little improvements that they've done, things that they've done, and yeah, the car costs more, but maybe now you don't need to go and get the aluminium chassis braces. Maybe now you don't need to go and get the 7075 aluminium chassis. Who knows? Maybe now there's actually, you can leave the car relatively stock. So, for those hardcore bashers out there, I suppose. So that remains to be seen. But yeah, it was nice when there was a couple of $100 price difference. Now it's just not even, yeah, very, very close. M2C, another third-party parts supplier, really need to negotiate better shipping contracts. We can get too low shipping from A-Main, but a part of the same weight from M2C is $20 plus. Yeah, the problem with things like M2C and I'll tell you some brands that are really hard to get here in the country that a lot of people will just buy direct. One of them is T-Bone Racing, RPM, M2C, or any of the third-party companies that make, parts for Arma cars, the unbreakable bodies, all of these sorts of things. These are all difficult things. There's no distribution chain for those products here in the country, as far as I'm aware. I think RPM's probably one where there may be a distribution chain, but it's very exclusive. So it's a little bit tricky to get that sort of stuff anyway. But yeah, it would be nice if some of those products were available through some of the distributors here, or if they would deal directly with the hobby shops and offer, good shipping rates and price rates and all that sort of thing. But unfortunately, it's just not the case. Like when we were doing race quads or FPV quads at the shop, we could get stuff directly from Armaton. So Armaton were actually really good in the way that they did things. They gave us a price list, they gave us a minimum order quantity, and then we knew exactly what our shipping costs were going to be, if any, and we knew what everything was going to cost and what was available and how many we were going to get, and they would deal directly with individual shops. So it wasn't like Armaton would tell John's RC or whatever to go, no, you need to go through Linda's distribution center because we deal with them. Armaton would just, okay, so you want to stock our product? Cool. Here's the prices. Here's how many you need to order, yada, yada, yada. But it's just really hard to do that with certain brands, I think. So yeah, there are certain things that are just made difficult, and there's obviously a dollar difference, dollar conversion that we need to take into account. And because of our geographical location, shipping costs are usually quite high. So that can deter a lot of people from buying big or investing in a particular brand because of those shipping costs. So it can be a little bit harder at times. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind as well. Do I own Metro Hobbies? No, I do not. Rest in peace, Holden. Yeah. Local hobby shop are dripping with RPM parts, US. My X-Maxx build is mostly RPM. See, I would love to have brands like RPM and T-Bone Racing and even M2C in Metro Hobbies. But it's just, there's just that little bit too hard. And when you are carrying literally tens of thousands of SKUs already in the hobby. Planes, boats, parts for everything. Like, there is just an enormous amount of product that you already have. To try and bring something else on, if it's not made streamlined, if it's not made to be easy, it just gets put into the too hard basket. And it's with the amount of business that we turn over at the shop, it's just too hard to devote any man hours to try and facilitate that acquisition, I guess, to try and get those products in. So yeah, look, it may happen in the future, but it's a little bit tougher than just ringing up, your local distributor or sending them an email and going, all right, I need X amount of these, and it just appears. Where something like, bringing in RPM or T-Bone Racing, it's a little bit too hard. That's all. So usually when I have customers that are like, oh, I've broken the front bumper of my Outcast twice in a row or something like that. Do you have any upgrades? The first thing I do is I'll log into T-Bone Racing, flip the screen around and go to this website, order directly from there. So I just direct people straight to T-Bone Racing, to get bumpers and chassis guards and stuff of that nature for those guys that are constantly, smacking their cars around. And that's the only way that I can really do it, and it's bad because, I'm sending the people to competition, I'm not making any money out of it, but at the same time, I can't just go, nah, man, I don't know, just because I don't sell it. Yeah, I do know. So go to this website. That's true. No soldering, not just a little bit. I came here for the soldering. All right, let's turn the solder on. Let's at least do one XT60, all right? Let's do one XT60. We will do... All right, here's what we're going to do. Some poor bloke's been waiting like an hour and 46 minutes. God damn it, when's he going to start soldering? All right, hold on. Sorry, guys. All right, it's all the chatter, all the questions, and you didn't get to see anything. All right, so one of the things I like to do is I like to reuse my connectors, right? So I always reuse my connectors. And the trick of the trade here is if I'm going to solder a male plug like this, what I do is I get an old female plug and I'll plug that in, because when you're trying to desolder, or even when you're just using this as a new plug, if you don't have something on here to keep those bullets straight, sometimes they can move out of alignment. And then when it dries crooked, and then you go to put your plug in and it's super hard and tight. And so I always, plug that in. And now we go in here, and now I have this solder. So I actually got this from J-Car. This was like 75 bucks for a huge roll. This is going to last me freaking years. And this is really good stuff. We use this stuff at work at Metro, and it's really, really good solder wire. So, all right, so we got that. Clean my little tip here. So I use like a chisel tip. That's what I generally use. Now, if I'm trying to desolder, here's the thing. If you try to desolder something, if you just put your iron on there, you're going to be there for like 2 hours waiting for this thing to warm up. It's a little bit trickier to do it when it's like dry, like this. So I'll actually take that rubber off. So what I normally do is if I'm trying to desolder, I'll actually put a tiny little bit of solder on there. So this is what I like to call a bit of a wet tip, I suppose. And then once that's done, I can, oops, hang on. I'm trying to do this in front of the camera and it's just becoming a bit tricky. Here we go. So I'll grab that there, let that warm up a bit. Come on. Out you come. Any moment now. There we go. See? Got that out. And now, okay. Get a little bit more in there. If I can get the rest of it, that would be great. Here we go. Got it. All right, got rid of that. So that one's good to go. What do we got? Sorry, I'll just go through the comments. XT90 is where it's at. Only chumps use XT60s. Well, look, all right, fair enough. I just don't have any XT90s at the moment, okay? Sue me. So, I don't use too many XT90s in my line of work. So, what do we got here? We got the minus, so we're going to do the negative first. So, always remember, put your shrink tubing over the top first. Now, what I like to do is I'm actually, even though this is like, it's pre-tipped, so it's already got a little bit of solder on it, but it's that really sort of hard kind of solder that they use. So I always like to put a little bit of my own. Now, normally I have this fixed on something to make life easy, but because we're being a little bit rushed, there we go, just like that. Now, so we don't burn our little fingers, we're going to hold this with the pliers there. We're just going to pop it on top. So see, I just put it on top there like that, and then I come with the iron and I just put it on top of the wire and then wait for everything to melt. And you'll pretty much feel it when it all melts, because it all just goes, it just goes in. Oh, there we go. That's it. See? Done. Just let it dry. See? I don't know if the focus is going to be all that good on here, but that's one. Now we flip our pliers over. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So I can hold, I'll probably cut this a bit too short here, but again, wet our tip. Let that melt a bit. And then we grab that out. There we go. Oh, that all came out in one go. How good am I? All right, so pop a little bit more solder in there and let it all get acquainted. So, you know, the new solder needs to meet the old solder, and they need to sort of have a bit of a chat, make sure they know each other a bit before it all mixes in. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to put a bit more on the tip of the wire. And what I do, right, is it's probably hard to see on film or on camera there, but once I see that the wire is getting hot, the solder should actually melt through the wire on the opposite side. So I'm not touching the iron anymore. I'm just touching the wire, and the solder just melts. So that's when you know the wire is nice and hot and ready for action. So there's a lot of sexual innuendos that I'm saying here. I'm surprised there's not much jokes going on screen. Again, we're going to heat this up. I actually don't have enough solder on my tip. So you got to wet the tip again. And we go. Oh, look at that. It works straight away. Melted straight away. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's clean. Did we lose? No, the heat shrink's there. Someone said forgot the heat shrink. No, it's there. Don't scare me. Forgot the heat shrink. Don't say that ever. I was thinking filthy. I was just. Oh God. All right. So now we got that done. Now here's where it gets good, right? So watch this. How do I show you this? So my soldering iron, grab that, it's actually quite hot, so we don't burn our fingers. Yank that out of there. And now we can push the heat shrink through. Let that sit in there. So my soldering iron, my little unit here, actually has one of these, which is a heat gun. And as soon as you lift it off the cradle, it starts working. And then you just give it a little bit of heat. Ta-da! And now the polarity is the wrong way. No, it's not. Although I have done that before. You finish everything and then you look at it and you go, oh, well that's not going to work. Alright, so there we go. XT60s done on there. Now for the tricky ones. Should we do the bullets as well? You want me to see? You want to see me do the bullets? That's a clever idea with the CPU cooler, huh? What's that? Dead shots your battery. Yes. Hello, hello. All right. So, what do I do with the bullets? There they are. So these are new bullets. So, sorry, gonna have to fix something up here. The charge cable for the phone was kind of getting tangled up on my soldering cable. So this guy goes in here. Can you see that all right? Goes in there like so. Probably hard to see, but I'm just heating the actual bullet itself through the top, and then this is going in underneath the actual iron tip and melting on the metal itself. Essentially, that's how that's working. So I'm going to do the same thing here again, just put a little bit more solder on this guy. Come on, there we go. Just like that. Just a little smear, nothing major. And now we're going to heat up the bullet again. And then I'm just going to slowly, we're going to introduce this guy to the party. And he's going to go, hey, how you doing, guys? And we just make sure that that sits in there for a little bit. And then we slowly put our bullet away, our iron away. And then let that set. And there we go. See? Done. I don't know if it's going to show up too well on camera with my phone, because my phone is not the best for this sort of stuff, I guess. And the beauty with this one is I don't have to worry about the shrink tubing going in first, because I just put it over the top. And with this, what I do, I'll finish this one. I'll do the other ones off camera because this is probably a bit boring for some of you guys. What I do with this is I'll measure it out a little bit. Okay, so I need something about that long. So what I normally do is slide that over the top. And when I'm putting the shrink tubing on, I actually leave like a millimeter above the bullet. So you can see that I leave a little, like a mil or half a mil or something like that. And I'll show you what I do after. So I'll get my my heat gun here. And we'll fix this like that. Oh, look at that. That looks good, eh? That looks alright. I'll put that away. Now you'll see, because we had the shrink tubing kind of going over the bullet, that it's kind of covering. So I just use like an X-Acto knife, and you just peel, just go along the lip of the bullet and just peel that like you would a piece of fruit. Just cut it off. A little bit of twisty. Just twist the cable. Look at that. See, it comes out flush. That's it. See? Done. And then just repeat for the other ones. And that's how you do XT60s. Pretty easy, huh? And little bullets like this. Alright. That's how I do it. It may not be perfect. It may not be how a lot of guys do it, but that's how I do it. Another one. Nuno Dias. Greetings from Portugal. How are you? I am fine. I'm actually tired because I've been doing this for like 2 hours and it's almost 11:30. Lisa Goodwin. Hey Vass. Very intricate work there, buddy. I actually just bought Pete an awesome soldering station for our anniversary. He's pretty good at it too. Well done, Lisa. Here's my soldering iron. That's what I use there. So I can turn that off. And then we can grab this, put it up here. So that's the iron there. That's my unit. I've had this now for I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years I've had this unit. So yeah, this is really good. And yeah, so this guy, when you turn that on, it's not supposed to come on. So that goes on there like so, and then when you pick it up, it just starts working straight away. And then when you put it down, you see the numbers start to drop. It just goes down, and once it gets to like 100, it'll switch itself off. So you'll see that. And 3, 2, 1, boop, there you go, off. And that's it. There's all my stickers. That's the other body I'm painting up. That's the other batteries I got to do. And flip that camera around. And that's it. So this is probably the longest stream that I've had in a very long time. I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of your questions. There were a lot that weren't showing up on there. And I know that sometimes I go back through these videos and I see questions that are like, when did that get asked? I missed that one. So yeah, I'm going to get ready for bed now because I'm a little bit tired. So it's been a long time between streams, and this one I think made up for a lot of it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I showed you something in the end. At the end of the day, I did some soldering, and I hope that I answered a lot of your questions. And yeah, we'll probably do it again soon. I'll try and do another one before Christmas, and then on Christmas Day, keep an eye out. And I'm saying this Christmas Day because it's like a month away. Or so. Keep an eye out because I will be doing a studio tour and doing a whole lot like new collection video showing you everything that I have and sort of going through everything so you guys can see some of the changes that have happened here in the studio. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, and there's going to be more running videos, a few more unboxings, and I've probably got a couple more ideas for RC Hot Tip and RC Pit Stop as well. So yeah, lots more to come. Stay tuned. Thank you all for those of you who have stuck around for so long and enjoyed the stream. And yeah, I'll catch you all next time. Bye for now.